tall, it's hard, and it's full of something. It's Byron. He's full of shit. Hey everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here, back at again with another video, and today we're going to be reviewing ugly fucking cover art, but Escape from HorrorLand, Book 11 of the Goosebumps HorrorLand series, which actually entirely takes place in HorrorLand instead of only for about 30 pages of the book. So yeah, it's a full HorrorLand-centered book that elevates the story barely at all, but nonetheless, it gets us to a location, and it has some reveals, and it's setting up the next book, Panic Park. So yeah, this is actually part one of the two-part Arc 1 finale for HorrorLand. And what do I think of it? Well, let's find out. Enough of thy bleb. Lies, spies, and filed thrive. Oh, secret source. Lizzie and Luke have uncovered secret information about the freaky amusement park. What the fuck? Lizzie wants to help the others, but since the twins don't trust her, the twins from Book 10, they're all in a deadlock. Did someone say, dead who? Grisly getaway. A trip through the Hall of Mirrors lets the kids escape HorrorLand to enter Panic Park. Ooh, weird. Safe at last. Or are they? Why are there no exits? What's in the tunnel of hate? Have they been tricked again? Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, big spoilers ahead. No shit, this is a spoiler review as always. Escape from HorrorLand is quite good. And it has a very big issue that takes away some enjoyability from the book. And a few other issues. But nonetheless, it's a good book. And I think it is a really nice time. Especially towards the end of the book. Even if there's an issue there as well. So yeah, Escape from HorrorLand. Really good. But why? This book has some really neat things going for it, especially in the Midnight Maze section. Now, the Midnight Maze has 3 distinct monster cameos, or groups of monster cameos. Captain One Ben Longleg, I think that's how it's pronounced, and his crew. The Haunted Mask appears in this book, and it has a whole thing about it for like 10 pages. And the monsters from My Friends Call Me Monster. Whatever those alien creatures are supposed to be called. I don't think we were going to name drop. Those monsters appear there, and they have their own little segments involving the actual characters tied to their initial book they appeared in. Which is really cool. You know, Carly Beth fighting the Haunted Mask, Michael Monroe fighting the monsters from My Friends Call Me Monster, whatever those are supposed to be called, and Billy Deep and Sheena, I guess, fighting off Captain One Ben Longleg, only it's more of the entire cast of characters fighting off that whole crew. In a way, kind of. They're mostly not fighting, they're kind of thrown off the ship. But it leads to a very cool ending to the book, as well as an issue, but we'll get to that later. The Menace reveal, which is really nice. I really liked how we got the villain finally revealed at the end of the book. And it's nice. It's really nice to finally know, okay, so there's somebody behind all this. It's this guy. What's his deal? Find out in book 12. And yeah, that's what this whole book is leading up to, is the reveal of the Menace, and to reveal of that Byron is actually evil. We'll get to that in a minute, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Escape from HorrorLand has some really nice stuff in the later part of the book, and even in the opening, which has its own issue, but it is a nice opening. I like how it describes the way we enter this gray dimension. Sounds familiar. Only now through a mirror. Again, sounds familiar, in a way. And it leads to this black and white, sounds familiar. Dimension, sounds familiar. Of amusement park. Okay, you lost me. What I'm trying to get at is it's very similar to Haunted School and Let's Get Invisible in a way. Just in terms of how it goes about entering for Let's Get Invisible, and the entire dimension itself being black and white with these distorted figures. That's cool. Very interesting and nice and creepy and pretty darn cool. So yeah. There's also a nice cameo in the beginning of the story from Rocky. And I don't mean like some random character, I mean Rocky from the episode, I mean distinctly the episode of Nightling Dummy Free. Or book, whatever. But more tight, you know, more based on the episode. Just because it's kind of a scary moment. What the fuck? I don't know why Rocky shows up here from Dummy Free. It's literally explicitly said it's Rocky. It's fucking Rocky. It's a dummy named Rocky, and he's actually an animatronic, and it leads to a nice little thing where they get a map, but it's just like really random, but I love it. It's a really cool little cameo here. That was very welcome. Cool points for that, I guess. Yeah, really nice cameo of a kind of semi-unpopular Goosebumps villain slash hero, if you want to go with the episode version. slash plot device for the book. I don't fucking know. It's strange. It's such a strange cameo. Got some great cameos in there and some nice little things. There's some nice rides they ride or, go up against. I really like the Tunnel of Hate. They start kind of getting, aggressive, and it's a very tense scene that leads to some pretty gnarly reveals. Maybe where some characters went that maybe went missing earlier in the storyline. Finally find out what happened to them, and they look grisly, but they're alive. There's some nice reveals there, and overall the story is a really nice time if you can get past the issues, which I was able to enough to give it a high score, but I can't ignore them. Alright, issues. Let's get the obvious out of the way. The fucking pacing is one of the worst instances of pacing I've ever seen. Ever. I'm being dead honest. The pacing in this book is horrible. The first 30 pages are a rush. An absolute rush to get to Panic Park. Basically, that's the entire premise of here. Escape from HorrorLand. They escape from HorrorLand from the first 30 pages to Panic Park, and then the rest of the book becomes Escape from Panic Park. Or navigate Panic Park until something interesting happens. Which is my other issue. It ties into that. There's no direction. There feels like there's no genuine direction besides figuring out what the hell is going on with this park. And it just feels like we're getting nowhere. We have to wait. We just wait until something finally starts happening. And that's when Byron comes in, brings in the Midnight Maze, and whilst that's still a great segment, it's like, where are we going with this? Are they fighting every single monster? We don't have a lot of pages left. No, they're only fighting 3. And then Menace just pops up. So yeah, it feels directionless, and the pacing, oh my god. Let me tell ya, I've had some long Goosebumps reading sessions, right? I read You Can't Scare Me, Night of the Puppet People, and Carnival of Horrors all back to back in one night before. One night. Barely any breaks. All those in one fucking night. 300 pages of Goosebumps madness. And I didn't like 2 of those books very much. But, nonetheless, it didn't feel as long as this book to finish. All of those combined is what I'm getting at. This book felt like 5 hours. I'm not even kidding. I still have flashbacks to me reading this. And I don't know if it was because I was, like, mildly ill. This book felt like 5 hours to get through. 5 long hours. I don't know what it is. Every 10 pages felt like 30 minutes to get through. It was one of the slowest Goosebumps reading sessions ever after 30 pages. And I was already into the book when I picked it up the night I finished it. It took me literally, like, 3 hours alone just to get to, like, page 100. And I was just trying so hard to get through it. It was seriously, for no reason, really. All I can say is that it's probably due to fucking pacing feeling like a literal snooze fest. As good as the book is, it's slow as hell. It is so slow. And it's a fucking kid's book that's this long. Alright? There's books that are 300 pages by Stine. There's Goosebumps books that are nearly 300 pages by Kate Howard for the new novels, but those went by quicker than this 100 and average page fucking book. I don't know what it is. The pacing is really the only thing I can blame. It was really one of the slowest experiences ever, probably because nothing was fucking happening. Or nothing notable, at least. Sure, stuff was going on, but it was nothing to drive the plot forward aside the fact that, hey, we're defeating monster, let's move on to next thing. Another monster. Run around. Another monster. Run around. Ride. Another monster. Or whatever. Just fucking madness. And that actually carries into Panic Park a little. Not this book. It's The Streets from Panic Park. The Streets of Panic Park has that issue in there too. I'm just gonna fucking warn you. But it is way less annoying, because most of the book is actually trying to do something that feels like there's something going on. Escaping Panic Park for realsies! For realsies. With reveals and twists all throughout. And awesome segments that are twice as entertaining as some of these. As much as I like the Tunnel of Hate and the Midnight Maze. Really, really slow shit. And to top it all off, the Byron twist. I was not for it. I'm gonna make it quick because we're already dragging this downside segment a lot. Byron's twist, I was not a big fan of him being a twist villain. It didn't come off right, and it just didn't feel like something I wanted to see. Most it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it in book 12. It feels better there, and I didn't have an issue with it there, really. It's just like, why? It just feels like an odd twist to add into the book, though you can see it coming. It just doesn't feel like it fits. So yeah, overall, this book is really darn good, but it's not amazing, just thanks to these little issues, or big-ish issues. I can be forgiving about a lot of things for this book. I can look back at it and go, yeah, this is a really good story with a lot of entertainment value, but it's really slow. But if you can sit there for what feels like 5 hours reading this book, you can probably enjoy it, alright? Just as much as I did. If you can bear that. Because goddamn, it's slow. Escape from HorrorLand, 9 out of 10. A little generous, and it might go down to an 8.5 in the future. Don't be surprised if I go into my Giga, I can't say that second word, Goosebumps ranking someday, whenever that happens, when Stine dies, and there's no Goosebumps books to be made, or it's like, Goosebumps is done, guys. Time to put the fries in the bag. Then I'll make the ranking, and this will probably be a little lower, maybe even higher, for all we fucking know. Maybe I'll reread and go, maybe that wasn't too slow. Either way, Escape from HorrorLand, horrible pacing, weird reveal of Byron, and no direction for the book, but it's still a great time if you can get past those issues enough, which I was able to. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this book review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.